Hi, David. My name is Amber, and I enjoyed reading your post a lot. And there was quite a few things that you said that I want to respond to, but the first thing that you spoke about in the very beginning of your post was how this is a great opportunity for Lori to evolve as a clinician. And I just really loved that approach and that mindset. Because it really is the intense, difficult clients that grow us, right? I know in my personal experience where I've had, I remember the first time I had to counsel a counselor, and that was really difficult for me. But I knew going into it, I was like, I could feel all the trepidation stepping into that experience. But I knew this was actually going to grow me. And so I just really love that mentality. But I really love the approach that you had about being fellow travelers. You said, so much of being an effective clinician is not only in the theoretical modality that is used, but also in the clinician's ability to join in the journey with the clients. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so good. That's one thing I really love as my role as a pastoral counselor, is that I feel like modalities and frameworks, things like that we use within the counseling room to help, and techniques are really important. But I feel like my greatest asset that I have in the counseling room is to empathize with them and realize that I know what it's like to be a human. I know what it's like to feel. I know what pain is, and that can be so healing. And so even dealing with a client like John, who is incredibly intense and really has such the self-righteous view about everyone, there's an opportunity to meet him in his pain, to connect with him in his pain as in our humanistic approach. So I really loved that you brought that out. There was a couple other things you said that I loved. You talked at the very end, you talked about really to help Lori, you want her to make her aware of the dynamics that could be at play within the counseling room with John, and really encourage her to go on her own personal healing journey. And I just thought that was really great too, because the truth is, I actually read this in someone else's discussion board post talking about making space for herself being a form of self-care. And I love that, because if Lori isn't dealing and tending to her own heart, it can spill over and become, as we've said, therapeutic dangers. There could be some therapeutic dangers involved. And so there's a level of being humanistic and being empathetic, but also calling John higher. But that looks like it looks like us having to deal with our own pain so that we can appropriately meet John and his. And so, but in order to do that, we actually have to go on our own healing journey with the Lord. And so I just really love that you would encourage her to really find space to deal with her own heart, so that there isn't an overflow happening, which even in the narrative that we read, she was gently holding it together in between sessions. I think she said even having moments of crying in the 10 minutes she had. And the truth is, we can only go at that pace for so long before we break. And so eventually she would collapse under that dynamic. So she would need space. And it really is a high form of self-care. And I think that's something I'm really learning too as a clinician, or as a counselor, of I'm human and I'm going to have to go through junk too, but I don't have to let it impact in a negative way how I'm leading in the room as a counselor. But it does look like taking self-care days, or even going to see a therapist myself. And so anyways, all of this was great stuff. So thank you so much. I enjoyed reading your post.